The international media has largely been describing what's happening between Iran and Israel as escalating tensions. How would you characterize it?
I think what we experienced in the past 7 months is the execution of the Iranian plan under the name Unification of Fronts. The Iranians wanted to create a multi-front campaign against the State of Israel and the Western presence here. It started from Hamas. We have Hezbollah launching missiles and drones as we speak. You heard the alerts to the north as well. You have the Yemenis, Houthis, attacking the ships in Bab el-Mandab, and you have attacks against American forces in Syria and Iraq. All of that, it's under the same boss, the Ayatollahs of Iran, that planned this campaign and created the militias, the proxy militias in all over the region that will enable it to carry out the campaign.
So this is more than just tensions?
No, it's war. 60,000 Israelis don't know when they will be able to go back to their homes. You cannot tell them that it's tensions. Rockets, the UAVs, anti-tank missiles, heavy missiles, all of this is being launched every day against Israel's north. This is not tensions.
What was your reaction to Israel's response in Iran to the missiles that were launched on Israeli territory?
Well, this is a very interesting incident because Iran's main goal is to keep the conflict outside of Iran itself and use the proxy militia. So I think the fact that we don't understand completely why they decided to interfere by themselves, but it definitely can indicate the self-confidence of the Ayatollahs of Iran that no one will put them at risk.
Did you anticipate it?
Not at the beginning of the war, but since they promised that this is what they will do, we understood that this will happen.
What do you see happening next then between Iran and Israel? I mean, Israel had a very limited response in Iran.
Yeah.
What did you make of that to begin with? What were your thoughts?
I wish the response was a little bit different. By the way, not necessarily in Iran itself. If it's a playground of all countries, so it's a playground of all countries. It should be in a different way. But in any case, I truly believe that the Ayatollahs of Iran are promoting a campaign which is a threat not only to Israel. It's not just Israel's problem. It's a global threat. The fact that Israel is moving forward the military capabilities of nuclear capabilities, it's a global threat. And I wish that we will be able to collaborate as we did that night with the 300 ballistic missiles and other missiles that were launched to Israel. I wish we will be able to collaborate all the time in an offensive way as well against the challenges and the risks that Iran is posing to Israel and globally.
And when Israel had their response in Iran, was that the beginning of more to come? Were they testing the waters? What was that?
I think Israel tried to limit the conflict because we have other worries now. That's the main goal of that, to send a message to Tehran, but at the same time to keep it mainly over here because the interest of Israel is not to expand too many fronts. The interest of Israel is to try to focus and to win the one and then to win the other. Again, I think that we could have sent different messages in different ways.
What's next? You see a full-out direct war between Iran and Israel?
It's definitely an option. We don't want that. We understand the risks of war, but at the same time, we will have to figure it out, how to bring back the people to come home and to live safely at their homes without Hezbollah just on the other side of the fence and without leaving the initiative to Hezbollah to attack us the same way that Hamas had done, since we know that Hezbollah had exactly the same plan, offensive plan, to take over the Galilee. They continue to talk about it during the current war. They continue to say in Arabic to their own people that they have plans to execute the offensive plan to occupy the Galilee, which is where I live and many others here in Israel. So we cannot let that happen.
In terms of the intelligence you're gathering here, what are you learning about what the Islamic Republic is doing now?
First, we only based on open source intelligence. That's all we've got. I think that eventually the Islamic Republic is interested in a long campaign that will have achievements that will put the State of Israel at risk in various fields, not only the military level. That's the logic of their campaign, and that's why it is being activated in different ways by different proxies, and not everybody at the same time, at the same date.
What is the relationship like between the Iranian regime and Hamas and the regime and Hezbollah?
It's different relationship. I think there are different relationship between the proxies of Iran and its boss. Meaning, I can always say that if you take the relationship between Iran and Hezbollah, it's like a relationship between an international big company and its most senior CEO. Okay, so Hezbollah is the most senior CEO. It's almost a partner, but it's not a partner. If you take the relationship between Iran and Hamas, this is more of a freelance. It's something a little bit different. But in all cases, all these militias are getting the munition, the training, and the money from Iran.
So then what needs to be done?
Work together, not only in defense, together, international community and Israel, not only in defense, as we already seen, but also in offense to make sure that Iran does not reach its goals to distribute the Islamic Revolution values all over the world and to eliminate the State of Israel.
Would you consider the Women Life Freedom movement and the protesters in Iran to be like assets to help in that mission in any way? I mean, you have a nation that's basically pretty much against the government.
I pray for the Iranian women to succeed, and if they will succeed in overthrowing the Ayatollahs, it will be the benefit of all of us in the region and globally. Can I rely on that? I'm not sure. When I look at Syria, our neighboring country here, it was more than a decade of a civil war, and Assad survived. So I don't think that Israel can rely on that with its security. I can definitely say that the Abraham Accords is already bringing achievements with regard to the security threat of the Ayatollah's regime in Iran to the region. And we've seen this that night when Iran launched these missiles to Israel, and everybody came to help, including regional countries and including countries that don't have a relationship with Israel. I don't know whether the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel will ever become public because of the Palestinian issue, and I understand that, but I think that the process as it is today already has achievements, and we should cherish that, develop that, and maybe in the future, if there will be a regime change in Iran, Iran will join this beautiful relationship that are now being created for the benefit of all of the people in the Middle East.
Syria, Lebanon, you're right over there. What is life like for northern residents?
Since October 7th, it's living in a feeling of existential threat. That Hezbollah can do the same like Hamas. That Hezbollah has the capabilities to do the same. That Hezbollah has the interest to do the same and the motivation to do the same. The only difference is that it lost the element of surprise, and IDF is deployed here much better than it used to be in October 7th, but it will not last forever. Eventually there will be a ceasefire which will enable Hezbollah to recover, and IDF, there will be a ceasefire for both sides. And once Hezbollah will recover, it will be capable of executing its plan whenever it chooses. And this is very, very problematic and dangerous.
Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't touched on?
I want to send a message to the Lebanese. I want to say to the Lebanese that Hezbollah is taking advantage of them, using them as human shields, and their life will be at risk if there will be war. And I hope that they will be, eventually, they will take the lead and decide to fulfill international decisions and to disarm Hezbollah for the benefit of their future and our joint future in the Middle East.
Do you have a message for the people of Iran?
Well, personally, we talked about it. Until 1979, there were a very good relationship between Iran and Israel. This can happen again. Israelis don't have anything against the Iranian people. We only want to live in quietness and safe, and I heard that Iran is a beautiful country, and I wish we could go there as tourists.